I had a conversation with someone that was specialized in law, and he was just like explaining how you were supposed to do war, where there is those really occidental way of you are not like targeting the civils, you are not like looking, you do war in a certain way. And what is happening lately is just like the rules have changed, and I guess some army are so in a frame that they are not able to just like open their mind and just like realize that those rules have changed and that they will have to adapt because they were so much used to behave that way.
But I wonder whether as well it is the idea that if the sort of Sun Tzu way of looking at it is one of his ideas is that ideally you choose the ground on which you compete.
Yeah.
So if you're good at mountain warfare, then you fight in the mountains. You might look at where did the British fight? Well, the British fought at sea, if it's all possible. If you control the sea, we control everything else. And I wonder now, with some of the entanglements that various countries are getting into, whether they don't have the option very easily of choosing where and how to compete anymore. If you invade someone else, then you're kind of choosing to compete on their ground, but they have their strengths, really.
Of course.
You do have the option of not doing it,
that comes back to our governance and ethics issue. We don't necessarily want to get into those debates about war, but there is always that option, isn't there, not to compete, which businesses have. Find somewhere else, blue ocean, find somewhere else to do your thing.
But it's the piece in Grant that we're pointing students to read about the Vietnamese War.
Yes.
It's absolute classic, I think. Just amazingly insightful as to how you compete on your own territory and how you choose where to
I guess
compete.
it's kind of a really just like interesting way of making people understand why the environment is so important, because if you are changing your environment, you have to change your behavior.
I like this phrase, the rules of the game. I like that as a way of understanding, because it's always frustrating. You're playing a game, somebody changes the rules, and what happened?
That's what culture is, though.
Oh yes, but even better though if you change them yourself.
Well, that's nice. I'm not playing Monopoly with you ever again.
No, I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about Steve Jobs. I can't remember whether we put this article up. We should if we haven't already. But when he came back after being ill the first time, I suppose, what does he say he's doing? Well, he's launching a few things, but he says, I'm waiting for the next big thing. Well, he says he's waiting, but what is he doing really? He will find it and he will create it. So he is changing the rules of the game. So that was before the iPod and before the iPad.
I was going to say, it's this thing that only Raoul can afford because he's got a business.
But it's creating. He's changed the rules. That's what he does.
Well, some companies do, and some industries allow. That sounds daft, but certain industries are set up. That rule breaking is a little easier.
It's a rule.
It's hard to change the rules in it's a sort of very stable bread making art we were discussing before, and I know you say, well, there's different breads in international, all these, but essentially it's quite a straightforward industry. What can you do? You can't come up with a...
Yes, but that's because we can't. But whoever it was, I can't remember the name of the guy now. He died recently, didn't he? Sliced white bread. That kind of changed the greatest thing ever. That kind of changed the rules.
Yes,
but I expect people were saying before that you can't do something radically new in bread. Yeah,
but Steve Jobs can do it sort of regularly in that type of industry. Bread making, that sliced bread came in quite a few years ago now. So certain industries are more structured, aren't they, and slower paced. And
no, that's true, and you're looking at massive technological opportunities in Steve Jobs' area.
Yes,
that's true, but then also what kind of people does Apple attract? You know,
Well, of course.
it probably attracts more exciting people than
The bread
industry.
Oh, you say that.
I mean, I'm being very contentious, though. I know,
But as Rudy says, though, funnily enough, that is one of the rules. That one of the rules is the rules change quickly.
right.
Our heritage of returning to society what we earn evokes trust among consumers, employees, shareholders and the community. This heritage will be continuously enriched by formalising the high standards of ethical behaviour expected from employees and companies. The mission statement from Tyler Steel.
Yeah, I think that's entirely generic. I think anybody could adopt it. We could adopt that for the mission statement for the MBA, couldn't we?
We could.